We want to know how we can be that bitch, how we can be that girl who just like owns it, wears whatever she wants, just like takes the room, say whatever she wants to say, and she just radiates. We all want to be that person, but sometimes it can be so hard to navigate and how to know how to get there. And that's why I made 3 easy steps for how you can start growing your self-confidence. And in the end, it's gonna be a little gift, a little surprise for you. So stay to the end if you want that. So I know we all just want to get straight into the actionable steps, okay? But you are not gonna get 100% how that's gonna help you if you don't watch this part first, because now I'm gonna teach you the whole thing about self-confidence. Like, what is self-confidence? And my friend, self-confidence is just the belief that you can do a thing. And the other thing about self-confidence is that you can be so confident in one area of your life and really insecure in another area of your life. Because self-confidence, as I said, it's just like you have done that thing time and time and time again. You see that you master it, you get good feedback from it, like people are acknowledging you that you are good at this thing, so you have a high self-confidence on that area, right? Let's say, for example, you are so good at studying and it's insane, like you get good grades, you're thriving, everyone is like calling you the smart person, the smart girl in class, and you're good. You're really confident in your abilities to be a good student, right? But then comes soccer, right? You have no clue about soccer. You hate it. You don't like it because you have maybe done it a couple of times and you felt like you sucked. So you have a lot of confidence there. Maybe you choose to not play soccer at all because you don't like it, because you don't like the feeling of not being good at it, right? You are insecure when it comes to soccer. And for example, if people have called you pretty all the time, all your life, you're kind of confident about your looks. You're like, yes, I am a beautiful person, and you have your pride in that. But maybe you struggle more with the reading part, the studying part, because you haven't really figured out like the key there, so you kind of avoid it because you're like, no, that's not my thing. And you kind of are a little bit insecure about it because you haven't seen the proof that you're good at it, right? So that is self-confidence. You can be confident in one area and insecure in another. But you can also be confident in 2 things and then insecure in one thing, right? It all depends. But the thing that's really important to understand is that we also have this thing called self-worth, okay? Self-worth is the whole foundation of everything. It's all about how you feel about yourself. How much value do you see in yourself? And maybe if you see yourself as an excellent student, you put all your value, your self-worth on being a good student, right? But it can be a little bit untangible to think about this whole concept of self-worth, and maybe you haven't really thought about before, but just to make it more clearer and simpler to understand, think of self-worth as the mom and self-confidence, it's the babies, all right, of self-worth. And what that means is that if you just know your values, that you are more than enough, whatever comes your way, like you just know that you are a good person, a good human being, you know your worth, then it's going to be much easier to be confident in different areas. It's going to blossom from that self-worth. So yes, you can follow different gurus that says like just do it and do it and do it until it works, fake it till you make it. Like you can do that, but what really is going to create the change is to work on the self-worth. That's the foundation, right? And it's also going to make you so much stronger as a person with the mindset and everything. Because just imagine if you're a human being, like we all are human beings that makes mistakes, right? So if you put all your self-worth in being a good student and then something happened and you get a bad grade, oh my God, that's going to be such a, to the self-confidence because you put all your worth in being a good student, right? And The worst case scenario is maybe that you will spiral and just feel bad and bad and bad and beat yourself up because of this little mistake, because you have put all your value into being a good student. And who are you if you're not a good student, right? So that's why it's so important to really focus on building that self-worth. So my 3-step beginner kind of plan is all about building that self-worth, and the confidence will come from that. Step number 1 is really for you to get to know yourself. Because how are you going to know how awesome you are if you don't know who you are? So this is crucial. It's crucial when we start this in the beginning to just get to know ourselves and how cool we are. So how do you do that? Well, this is maybe going to sound a little bit cheesy, but you need to have a journal. And I'm not saying that you need to like write out your day. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you should map out every time you have a feeling. If, for example, you are with your friend, something happens, she says something, and then you suddenly feel jealous, I don't want you to push that feeling of jealousy away. I want you, maybe not like when you are with your friends, but like later on, just to say, okay, I felt jealousy. Why did I feel jealous in this situation? Like, she is my friend. I'm just supposed to want everything that is good for her. I'm not supposed to have that bad feeling, right? Because it's so easy that we just shame ourselves from having these kind of feelings of jealousy, anger, sadness. But the reality is that feelings is just like a compass. It just shows you what you are maybe lacking in your life and what you really like in your life. So jealousy can only exist if you have lack in your life. So what did she say that you feel like you're lacking in your life? And with just knowing that your body is communicating to you that you have this lack in your life, you now have the information to do something about it, right? And when we are empowered to have control over this thing, we are not helpless. We can do things, right? You know yourself better, what is important for you. So do this also with anger, sadness, when you're happy, like that will all tell you who you really are without all the noise. Because we have been told who we should be from a really young age. We have listened to society, our parents, family, friends. We have listened to everyone else because we want to fit in, but we need to start to listen to ourselves and who we really are and our voice. That is what's going to lead us to live a happy life, and it's going to create a stronger feeling of self-worth because you know who you are. As I said, step 1, get to know yourself. And I know many of you are going to feel like this is a little bit cringe or maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but it's supposed to be uncomfortable. And also, side note, like feelings, they never disappear, right? So if you always like push away the negative feelings that you don't want to feel with neither eating food or watching Netflix or just scrolling on your phone, those feelings is just going to store themselves inside of you, and it's not a good thing. Let me tell you that. So that's also an important thing, by really feeling the feeling and let it go. Because when you really get to the root cause of what your body is trying to tell you, then it can disappear. Then it can fly away from you, and you know what to do in your life. Step number 2 in this whole self-worth journey is just to look at the thing you have noted when you have gotten to know yourself and see what is your values. Because that is maybe something you have heard when it comes to like dating, like I need to date someone with the same values, but then you don't really know your values. You have maybe heard what should be your values, but you don't really know what is your values. But when you get to know yourself, you can also start to form what is important for me, what is my values. Because what often happens is that we maybe do something, we maybe take a choice based on what other people tells us or what we maybe have heard or thought should be the direction of our life, and we feel a little bit of like a feeling, but we push it away because it should be like this, right? But that could be that you are acting against your value, like something that is important for you. And you can also take this into consideration when you look at your relations with the people around you, okay? Because start to try to notice how you feel after you have been with a person. Do you feel energized? Do you feel good? Or do you feel drained? That can also give you a little bit of an answer for if that person have the same values as you or if you are crashing. And you should indeed be with people also, like when it comes to friends, that have the same values like you. That's gonna be the friendships who's just gonna flourish with you, that you're gonna have with you through your life because you have the same values. Try to start to notice that because that's gonna help you in the right direction. And that could, for example, be if you're with a friend and that person loves to gossip, loves to talk about that other girl in class, about everything that's wrong with her, blah, blah, blah. And you just feel like there's so much negativity around it. And maybe that's also then a value for you that the other person isn't sharing. Like for you, it's important to not talk about other people behind their back, to not have that negativity, right? The other person is maybe like, this is entertaining. Let's talk about them. Let's feel better about yourself. Some people are maybe super energized by gossiping about other people, but you are like, no, thank you. That is not for me. But this is all for you to just figure out. So now we're at the final third step on this like little quick 3-step guide to building the self-worth. And that is also to understand that your beliefs are not truths. Your beliefs create your reality, and your beliefs is formed by the family you grow up in, by the people you were surrounded, by society. Like your beliefs are all formed by your earlier experiences. And the thing is that everyone has been exposed to different things and their beliefs are different, which means their reality is different. And while that can be a little bit confusing, it's also a good news because that means that you can also change. You can change your beliefs, you can change your truth, you can question what you have been told since you were younger, and you have just like accepted it as this is just the way it needs to be. But does it? Maybe you have grown up in a family where money was this hush-hush things and people with money were maybe seen as cruel people or something like that. So your belief is that you're never gonna reach that, you're not a part of that group because they are bad people. Then you see this as your reality, and maybe no one in your family went to a higher education. That means you think that you can't. Or maybe another one, like everyone is doctors in my family. That means that I also need to be a doctor. Like it's a family thing. But do you though? Is that really who you are? Is that really what you want? Like it's so much that can just like be changed by just changing our beliefs. And then you might be like, I see the concept. I'm kind of like getting a grasp on that, but I don't really see how I can do this. The easy answer to this is just to expose yourself to different perspectives. So how you can do this is that you can read books. You can watch documentaries, you can listen to podcasts where people share their opinion. It should be grounded in self-development and self-growth and positivity. For example, for me, when I started this whole self-growth journey, I would go for a walk every morning and listen to a podcast, a self-development podcast. And the thing here is not that you listen to this person, this interview, this person sharing their experience. You're not supposed to just listen to that and just like, okay, well, now I understand everything that person says is truth and this is now my new belief. That is not how you do it. You just expose yourself for a lot of different voices and then you pick. For example, maybe in this conversation you agree on something that I said, but other things they're just like, I don't know what she's talking about, right? But then you can take that thing that you agree on with you to the next one, right? And then maybe you hear another conversation and that thing resonated with you, but another thing did not. So by doing that, you can build yourself another image of the world, and your beliefs will also change with that. So just because you have had this start to your life, that doesn't mean that it can't change, okay? So now that you have gotten to know yourself, you have seen your values, and you also understand that just because you feel like this now, that this and this is possible, you can change. You can change your beliefs. That is totally, totally doable. So just because you now see yourself as a negative person, a pessimist, it doesn't need to be like that forever. Like, you can expose yourself to different sources of information and change that view. So just because you are like this now doesn't mean you can change. Then you're like, you have given me these three steps of figuring out more who I am, but how am I going to start to love myself and see how much I'm really valued? And let me tell you this, by just working on yourself and doing good things for yourself, you are already going to build that worth, because you are automatically telling yourself that I am a person who is really worth caring about. I'm a person who has great potential. I just need to expose myself for this. You are using your time and energy to build yourself up, and that is just proving to yourself that you are a person who is worth doing all of that. It's an act of self-love. And honestly, I'm so proud if you're still here watching, because that just means that you are open-minded to learn this stuff. You want to work on it. You really want to love yourself more. And that is such a great step of building that self-worth and then self-confidence. Okay, so just think about that. Most people would have just like hopped off this video already, but you have spent your time here. And that is why I also wanted to give you this gift to make building this self-worth and self-confidence a little bit more fun. And that's a challenge. It's a 30-day challenge that you can do on your own, that you can do with your friends. I've tried to make it cute. I have kind of made the spreadsheet where you can print it out and then you can just cross it off every time you do it and make it into a game. And every day it's a new thing that you can do to just show yourself that you are that bitch. Because as I started this video with, self-confidence is also built by doing stuff again and again. And if you expose yourself again and again, day after day, to new things, that is just making you grow, that is making you like take the step outside of your comfort zone, you are really just like getting that confidence and trying new things, in growing as a person, in learning. I have a really high confidence when it comes to learning, and I love it so much. I love to grow as a person, and by just doing it again and again, that is just amplifying that feeling, right? So what you can do is that you can do it one time, but the best thing is if you can take these kind of challenges and make it into a routine, because all of them is just gonna make you grow. It's acts of self-love, and you, by just doing these things and activities more and more, you're just gonna grow and you're just gonna expand into this better version of yourself. So you can just download it for free down below if you want to join the challenge. And if you're still here and you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, because that is how we're going to spread the message to multiple people. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. I have a burning desire of just like spreading the knowledge and really be an influence in people's life, to really just like empower the girlies with tools, with truths, so they can grow and become their best selves. And if you like this video, I know that you're also going to love this video, so check it out.